starting my Integrated Media Production 2 exam. So first question is, explain the process of pre-production. Pre-production is basically the first steps in creating something digitally media related. So this would involve many important steps and things that kind of get the ground running for you when trying to create something. And that leads into the second question, which are what are the most important steps of pre-production, and define them. The first step you would do is the project proposal, and this is basically a summary used to promote or sell the project. It's basically just what the project is. And then you have the premise, which is a concise statement or assertion that sums up the story or subject matter. This is why you came up with this subject and why you would think this is a good project or idea. And then the next thing you have is the synopsis. And then the synopsis is an elaboration on the premise. It's a short paragraph that describes the basic storyline or theme, and it walks your audience through the story. It's broad. It just kind of gives the audience a general idea of what they're going to get themselves into when they consume your media. The next step would be the treatments, which is a more detailed summary of the plot, characters, and scenes, and how you would plan on capturing the material. So this is kind of your checklist of things that you're going to need during the project. So this would be like your characters that you're going to be involved, where you're going to film or record, what equipment you're going to use to do these things. Next thing that you have is the scripts, and this is the complete production guides on paper, and it's specifying what will be seen or heard. This is basically, you know what a script is. It's just what's written down. It's kind of a guideline of what needs to be said or what needs to be done in what order. The script breakdowns is a breakdown script to include listing equipment and personnel needs for each scene. So this is taking the script that was written, which is what the dialogue, what's going to be said and what's going to be done, and then taking that and then breaking down what equipment and things are needed to complete the scripts. And the next thing you have is the production schedule, which is the timeline and daytime for every phase of the production, which is basically a schedule. So it's when you're going to do your pre-production, production, and post-production so that your project gets done in a timely manner. The next thing is the storyboard, which is a graphic visualization of important shots. This is especially important, obviously, in video because you kind of want an idea of what you want the actual shots to look like before you go out shooting, so that you don't waste time messing with the camera and kind of playing with the shot too much trying to find the perfect shot. If you have an idea of what shot you want before you go out, it makes shooting a lot easier and quicker. And the last thing in pre-production is the budget, which is how the funds will be spent in each production category. It's important to have a budget, obviously, because you don't want to have an idea or subject that costs more than what you have or requires equipment that you can't get, because it makes completing the project a lot harder. So having a budget set aside to begin with helps you kind of figure out what you can do with what you have. So the next question is, why is pre-production needed? Pre-production is the planning stages of your production cycle. It's probably the most important parts of the three sections, of the other two being production, post-production, because without the pre-production, your production and post-production is going to run into a lot of hiccups and weird snares and things, because if you don't plan for something and kind of wing it, you're going to have a lot of trouble. The next question is, how does pre-production relate to the other steps of production? Pre-production is what you do before production, and the pre-production is the planning, and then you have production, which is the actual capturing of the footage or data that you're going to use and edit in post-production. And then post-production is the editing process in which you create the final product from the things that you've captured. And that's kind of touched on already, but the next question is explain the process of post-production and define the steps. Post-production is basically the final editing process of what you did in production. So you have a bunch of footage, and then you're going to use some sort of software, usually on the computer, to edit footage or edit sound clips into the final product. You're going to use this with some kind of editing software, and you're going to cut things and put them together and add effects and like put things together in a way that can be presentable as a final product. The next thing is explain two types of analytical montage. The first analytical montage is sequential montage, which are events are shown in logical order. They're supposed to occur. The example I have here is the opening sequence of Hot Fuzz, so I'll play that for you. Hopefully the sound's not too loud. If it is, I'm sorry.
Police Constable Nicholas Angel, born and schooled in London, graduated Canterbury.
This is a sequential montage because it's talking through how he became where he was, so it goes in chronological order, kind of from where he started to where he became.
Academically excelled in theoretical coursework and final year examinations. Received the Baton of Honor. Graduated with distinction into the Metropolitan Police Service. Quickly established an effectiveness and popularity within the community. Use your brain. Proceeded to improve skill base with courses in advanced driving and advanced cycling.
So yeah, there you go. The other type of analytical montage is the sectional montage, and this is where events are arranged to show the same event from different perspectives, and it doesn't follow a chronological progression. So the example that I have here is the final shot scene in the movie Hoosiers, which has Jimmy Chitwood throwing up the final shot, and it goes into different shots while the ball's in the air in different perspectives. So see, we have the crowd, it goes back to him, goes to the coach, goes back to him, and this is all happening around the same time. So that's an example of the montage. You have the ball in the air, it goes closer to him, goes over here. See, all the different angles going with the same event. So that could be considered a sectional montage. Alright, moving on. The last question is explain the two types of idea-associative montage. The first one is the comparison montage, and this consists of succeeding shots that juxtapose two thematically related events to express or reinforce a theme or basic idea. An example I have here is fan created, but this was I felt like a really good example. It's a video where somebody compares the beginnings of the games BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite, and it does a great job of comparing underwater, a game that takes place underwater and a game that takes place in the air. So as you can see, it juxtaposes things that are thematically similar but go in very different directions. One literally goes down and the other goes up. We have underwater and then we have in the air. So this is a comparison montage. Alright. And then the last thing is the second type of idea-associative montage is the collision montage, which is when you clash two different events to express or reinforce a basic idea or feeling. And the example I have for that is part of a scene from an episode of Sherlock where he gets shot. So I'll play it first for you.
It's not like it is in the movies. It's not a great big spurt of blood and you go flying backwards. The impact isn't spread
So these are two very different places and two very different things going on. You have him standing in a room after he's gotten shot, and then you also have him laying on this table, and it's switching between these two events, and that is what we would call a collision montage. It gives you a thematic idea of, oh, he's on his deathbed because he got shot, he's dealing with the trauma, and what's going on in his mind is represented by him laying on the bed and talking to the woman, or the woman talking to him. So that's everything. Hope you enjoyed listening to my presentation of the Integrated Media Production 2 exam, and I'll see you guys later.